So, Jenny, here we are at the famous laundry garden now. Thank you so much for having me. It definitely is famous now, more than you probably ever imagined, but we'll come on to that in a bit. Tell people about who you are first of all, and tell everyone a bit about you, if they don't know already.
So my name is Jenny, and I live in the beautiful North East Wales, UK, on this beautiful place called the Laundry Garden. That it's a property that Tom inherited when he was quite young, and so obviously I'm married to Tom.
Yeah, not me, the other Tom.
The other Tom, yes. And we have 3 sons, 2 with him and 1 from a previous marriage. I'm a hairdresser by trade, and fell in love with gardening when I was in my 20s, and it's just sort of gone from there. And of course, when I met Tom, our love of gardening and for each other just grew and grew, which brought us to here. And as soon as we came here, we knew we wanted to create a garden together, and we started small just by the house, and then it sort of merged into here within a few years of us moving into the house. And it was not something we planned to do. It was one of those things that slightly forced our hand, because we decided to open for the National Garden Scheme, which was always a dream of mine.
Yeah.
And when the lovely ladies came around with their clipboards, we got to the end of the tour and they wanted to come into the walled garden, and
you weren't quite ready at that point for...
No, not at all, because every time we opened the door, it was that...
a lot.
Yeah, can we do this? This is quite scary. You know, this whole space we're sitting in now is an acre, which is a big space, especially with it being a blank canvas. We just thought, we kept closing the door. No, we're not ready. And sometimes you need forcing to do something to make it happen, and it just started there. And we thought, okay.
Well, how long ago was that? How long ago was it that this was just how you found it?
About 9 years ago.
And what was it like then? What was inside the walls at that point?
A mulberry tree.
And that was it.
And grass.
Yeah. Wow.
Seriously. So we've got a mulberry tree just over there, which is, we think, is about 100 years old. Tom's father remembers this as a boy.
I was just looking at how established it is.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's lost 2 boughs since we've been here as well.
Wow.
And
so it really was a daunting challenge that when you opened that door.
It was terrifying, actually.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we did have moments where we were kind of, yes, we can do this.
So much potential.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like anyone's dream, I suppose. And I think the more and more I talk to people about it, the more they were sort of like, yeah, you've got the dream garden, a walled garden. And I honestly didn't think of it like that, and just thought, it's just a beautiful space, and nice to have it. But the more and more we gardened it, and the more we showed people and shared it, and then of course the social media side of things became beyond my wildest dreams. I broke my ankle in 2019, and it was that sort of pinnacle point. And I think everyone might find this with social media. You kind of fall down rabbit holes all the time and think to yourself, oh, I'll go into floristry, I enjoy that, and I'll do this and I'll do that. And then someone said to me one day after I'd broken my ankle, and said, you've got a beautiful garden, you've got a walled garden, why don't you just showcase that, and the fact that you've gardened it and created it. And I thought, they're right. So the time it took for my ankle to heal was the time it took me to really find my feet with the social media side of it, and grow friendships with people, and then reels happened.
Yeah, all at the right sort of time, actually.
It kind of did, yeah.
That sort of snowball effect.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's kind of gone from there, beyond what I thought it might.
Well, I bet, yeah, from just kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll do up this walled garden, to now the phenomenon that it's basically become, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I know that you love your Genus gardenware, and usually I have to tell people about it because they're one of the sponsors of the podcast. But I don't need to convert you already because I know that you wear it and I see it all the time on your Instagram.
Yes.
So tell me about why you love it.
I love it because it's made for people who garden purely. You know, the pockets where you can put your secateurs in are brilliant. The built-in knee pads are
That's my favourite.
game changer. Absolute game changer. And how you don't get a wet bum because because I kneel so much in the garden, so the knee pads are great, but my boots always touch my backside when I'm in the garden, so I end up with a wet
Socky bum.
So, you know, the pants are by far my favourite because they're so well thought out for someone who's out in the garden. They're just absolutely brilliant and really comfortable as well. You know, they're well made, well manufactured, with all the things that you got the zip at the back to put your phone in, or anything else, or string, or fancy, and everything. You know, the tops, the zip top, the gilet is really, really comfortable.
It's all really good, isn't it? But like you said,
good quality as well.
Is where it excels.
I think so.
In all the stuff that you get in it, all the technical. And like you said about being comfy, that's the other thing. It's not just good for gardening. Because, as my Instagrammers like to tell me, I basically live in mine. They like to comment all the time, "You're in the same clothes again, in your genus again. Is that all you wear now?" Yes, actually, because I literally wore it yesterday for just a normal day. Because it was just get out of the wardrobe, put it on. It's really comfy. And whatever situation's thrown at me, you're going to be waterproof, knee padded.
Got it all there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Absolutely.
So, how long did it take to? I mean, I know you're still working on it. There's a sign over to there that says we're still working on this corner.
Yeah.
But how long did it take to kind of really get it to a point you were happy with it to open it for the garden scheme?
I think it was at that point when we had the ladies here, and that was back in 2013. We'd got to a point where we'd gardened around the house and just thought, this is looking great. You know, we've got a section of garden that's maturing nicely. We've got the Lime Avenue in, and the oval lawns, and the terrace, and it all looked really lovely. And it was sort of at that point I thought, yeah, this is great. And then obviously we took on this project unexpectedly and thought, okay, we'll take on this challenge and keep going. And to me, the garden will never ever be finished.
No.
Ever. I think we'll probably get to a certain point, and then we'll probably look at another area that we did 10 years ago and think, that needs a bit of a refresh.
Yeah.
Getting a bit, it's like decorating your house, isn't it? You sort of think, actually, you know, that room's looking a bit scrappy now. Let's just refresh it again. Yeah.
So you've got a job for life then, basically.
We have, and it's really funny because Tom's parents are gardeners, and I remember when we showed them around the garden, when we just started the wall garden actually, and he then said to us we were bonkers. He said, "You're mad. You really are mad." And at the time, we were totally oblivious because we were in creation mode and planting things and creating borders.
It was all exciting.
It was really exciting, and I think we're at the stage now where we're having to maintain what we've created, but we still want to keep creating.
Yeah.
And all the time we had when we first started the garden is now taken up with maintaining the rest of what we've already got. Yeah. So trying to start up a new project is sort of getting harder and harder in a way. And we've got all the ideas, and we've got the impetus, and we've got the drive for it, but it's sort of factoring that into our day and our time schedule. You know, it takes a lot of time to be keeping on top of the Instagram side of things as well. And I think anyone who's a creator that does it will appreciate the time and effort that goes into doing that too, which I didn't really think would be my life, but it seems
Not
to be.
when you had that decision to start sharing it because your friend recommended it.
Yeah.
Now you're like, damn you, friend. It's turned into a whole thing.
Yeah.
And over that time, you've had TV here. You've been on all kinds of different social media channels, haven't you? What's that been like? Well, I'm sure you didn't expect that stuff.
Well, I remember, you know, you have moments in your life where you'll never forget that day
Yeah.
because of something happening. Well, I will never ever forget the day that the BBC Gardeners World rang me. And I was doing someone's hair actually, because obviously I'm a hairdresser, and I put foils in her hair, and we'd come back to the house, and I was making lunch actually, and Tom was home that day, and it was a beautiful day like today. So we decided to sit outside the front of the house, and my phone rang, and it was this lovely lady, and I think her name was Polly. She went, "Hi, it's Polly here from BBC Gardeners World." And I went really quiet and went, "Is this a prank?"
Yeah.
And she said, "No, I'm serious, it is from Gardeners World." And I could feel my heart racing, and I said, how did you hear about me? She said, she says, "I'm the researcher, and I'd seen your Instagram, and I've seen, that you've been featured in magazines, etc. And we'd like to learn a bit more about you. Would you be interested?" Well, that was a stupid question, of course.
Of course you're interested.
And I couldn't get my words out, and Tom kept staring at me, and I'm staring at him, kind of going, "BBC, the BBC."
Yeah.
And he's kind of going, what? And I'm going, I'm trying to point to my phone to try and tell him without looking stupid, and my client sat there with her foils in her hair.
It's all going on at once.
And I was trying hard not to get too excited either. You're trying to keep really calm.
Keep calm, yeah.
Yes, this
It's
is really
only research at this point,
It's
yeah.
research here, but that was quite amazing. So we went through all this big process. Long story short, they gave us some choice. They sort of said, "Choose when's the best time to come and look at your garden." And I thought, well, you've got to strike while the iron's hot. And I said, well, whenever's best for you, I don't mind. Of course, most gardens probably in the UK look absolutely phenomenal in June, which is like the moment. But around the time, it was kind of time is of the essence, and I thought, she said, we're quite full June time, obviously. How about July? And I said, yes, July's fine.
Yeah.
Yes. And it so happened that Joe Swift was going to be at the Tatton Flower Show, which is a local, it's the nearest, it's the furthest north show, RHS Flower Show. So she said, we could get Joe Swift to come over because he'll be at the Tatton Flower Show. How does that sound? Well,
Not going to complain.
Yes, let's have him here. And it so happened that the day the whole crew came to do the filming, it was the hottest day of the year. And I panicked because I know how hot it gets in the war garden.
Well, especially,
Yeah, and for the whole day, I was sort of constantly going up to the film crew going, and I went out and bought ice lollies for everybody and giving them cold drinks all the time, because I was totally paranoid that if anyone collapsed or anything, the filming wouldn't happen and I wouldn't get on telly. That's terrible to think that. I was worried about the crew.
Of course, their safety.
Yes,
of course,
totally
but
safety.
also, if they weren't safe, they weren't going to film you.
Yeah.
So,
But the poor guy who was doing the sound and the filming, and the sweat was dripping off them. And Joe Swift was amazing. And I think in the beginning when they arrived here, just the professionalism was incredible, and their attention to detail, and they scripted everything, and we walked Joe around the garden on the sections they wanted to film, and we talked him through our story as well. And it was quite funny because when he'd walk certain areas, we'd be hiding behind a hedge on the other side, kind of going, what's he saying? And he listened to every word we said. And it really meant something to us, because when someone genuinely listens to you and feels how you feel, and when we watched it, when it finally got aired, we sort of thought, yeah, he really understood what we were saying to him. And it was, even though it was scripted, it really came across like he knew.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It's a sign of a good presenter, isn't it?
Yeah.
They really listen to what you say along the way. And
Absolutely. You sort of see these presenters and think, oh yeah, they're just giving the script. Well, they are, but they also listen to us too.
Yeah.
And I remember they were taking the last scene, the last thing of the day, to sort of wrap it up. And I was standing on the other side of the door where the fig tree is, and he was walking down the that classic bit that I walked down, and he was walking and talking to the camera, and it was just what he said, and I thought, yes, he's got it. And they said, okay, just do that one more time, Joe. So he did it again, and then the crew looked at me and went like this because he'd finished it for the day, and I nearly started crying because what he said, I just thought, thank you so much, he wrapped it up perfectly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hug him, but I thought, no. We were all sweating, kind of, it's quite sticky at that point.
Sweaty, sticky.
Yes.
So, do you grow a lot of the flowers here in the garden from seed?
No, not really.
Don't you?
There are some self-sown seed
Yeah.
things, like nigella, poppies, foxgloves, aqualegias, all those sort of standard stuff that you would expect to self-seed.
Yeah.
They're real, especially the foxgloves, they're real stalwarts in the garden when the time when they come into flower, and for the fact that they've self-seeded on their own means that they've found their spot where they're going to be happy,
and
they're going to grow, and they're going to perform, and they always do, and I love that. And I think if nature can just be left alone sometimes, that's the best way to do it.
You've had some zinnias that you've grown from seed there, haven't you, this year? You were telling me, Abby.
Oh, in the section over there. Well, Hannah, I can't take
all the credit.
I can't take any credit for any of that. Hannah is the seed sower here, and she's been here for the last couple of years now. And it's been nice to have someone in the garden who loves growing from seed, and she's been a real godsend. So she's been growing quite a few things from seed here, which has been fantastic. I mean, I have dabbled. I've grown cosmos.
Oh yeah, it can't be cosmos.
Oh yeah. Don't be so surprised.
I am surprised actually.
You're looking.
I can't imagine. Where have you put sweet peas here?
I have had so at the front of the house where we've got that lovely box parterre. Well, because we grew that from teeny weeny cuttings, while they were getting going, I grew sweet peas on wigwams in there,
nice.
just to sort of
it gives it a bit of structure.
Just to tide us over whilst the box was growing. So for a few years I grew sweet peas there, which is great. It's lovely, and I always have been in the house, and I grew a few around the back. Never really grown so many inside the wall garden, because when you grow things inside the wall garden on structures and so on, and I know with sweet peas they're quite high maintenance, got to keep cutting and cutting and cutting to keep coming in and out of the wall garden 2-3 times a day, which some days, believe it or not, I don't come into the wall garden at all.
No.
And you've really got to keep an eye on it. So I've always grown sweet peas here at the house, because at least I can just pop out with a quick check and a quick pick, and then I come back in.
Well, it's good that you mentioned sweet peas actually, because it's nearly, I mean not quite, but we're nearly getting towards time for autumn sowing. So if people are thinking about that they're going to grow some sweet peas for autumn sowing, then the great news is the podcast is sponsored by cauliflowers.co.uk, and people can have 20% off by using the code TOM20, which I always forget, and it is TOM20.
How can you forget that?
I always do. I've said that it was different codes. It is TOM20, you can have 20% off. So there you go. If you're growing from seed, or you're thinking about
Nigella.
your Nigella round the back
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah.
And like you said, then it self-seeds itself.
And you
so
can sow them
actually,
twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
So
perfect.
many possibilities.
And once you've got them, I think, once you've got things like Nigella, you've got them forever.
Well, yeah,
They
it's
just
going to
keep coming
self-seed
back.
and naturalise itself, and it looks amazing how it's just coming through the gravel. I think it's really nice. Yeah.
So pretty. And then you can dry the seed heads as well, and they look nicely like a
Yeah. So what is the principle that you have behind the garden here? Because, you were saying earlier, actually, peat is not necessarily what people always expect when they come to a walled garden. So tell everyone about the principles that you have with, how you do the garden and the style of what you do here.
I think Tom and I have our own styles, I suppose. I think Tom is more leaning to the formal side, so things like the canopy and the clipped hedges, and it's the structure side of it. and then I sort of fill in the gaps and paint the picture and fill the borders, and I like the softness. And Tom's not a romantic person. People might think he is, but he actually isn't. Well, that sounds really mean. He is, but he doesn't outwardly show it too much.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the gardening side of things, I feel that maybe it's a female thing, but I like to inject the romantic element to here, and let things flop onto the pathways, let things look a bit more relaxed and not too manicured. Whereas Tom's going, I need to cut the hedge, that needs to be trimmed and that needs to be edged. But I will sort of say, and he'll say, well, that needs cutting. I'll say, no, I quite like that. Let's just leave that a little bit longer. So I think the marriage between the two of us in our thinking process with the garden works really well, because I think the structure side knits the garden together, and the romantic side gives it feeling.
Yeah.
So between the two, you've sort of got a really nice flow going on.
Yeah, I agree. For me, the formal elements give you that structure and that sense of where you are and guide you through the garden, but the planting and how it flops over the edges and it's going a little bit wild and growing between it. So that's just the lovely, like the storytelling part, and they do meet together really nicely. But I don't think it's what people necessarily expect in a walled garden, but it's so nice. I think that's why it really captures the imagination when you come in here. It's not just a formal garden. It's all perfectly pruned. It tells a story, and it tells the story of you two, I think, is what's important as well. And like how you described, it's almost like how you described your relationship is exactly the same as how it kind of blends together in the garden as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a garden, especially if it's been created by the owners of the garden, is a reflection of them and their personality, for sure. I think when you visit gardens that probably mostly National Garden Scheme gardens, for instance, private gardens, let's say, they're usually gardens that have soul and feeling, that the owners have put everything in years and years of the thinking process and the looking after and changing up things now and then. I mean, a classic garden that I will always refer back to is Orlerton.
I love Wellington.
And John and Leslie have been a constant inspiration to me throughout creating this garden, actually, because they started their garden from nothing, as have we. And whenever I go there, I kind of come away thinking, well, they've done it, so can we. It gives me that little bit of impetus to sort of keep going, we've got this, let's do something else, let's do this. And it's nice to sort of have that little bit of inspiration to look up to. I agree. So you went back when your friends said to you, put this on Instagram. Where did it go from there, and how did it get to where it is now? Because I think it's gone crazy, hasn't it? It has, and I think with social media, it's a funny beast, but it's called social media for a reason. And I think when I first started out, it started out as that typical put my kids on a few snapshots of what food I've eaten and where I've been, and it was a bit of fun. It was actually my sister that got me going on Instagram initially. She said, you've got to do this, you take good pictures and it's really good. And then when we moved here and started the creation of the garden, obviously we took lots of pictures, and I just still kept doing my snapshots of everything. But like I said earlier, when I broke my ankle and things had to slow down, and I had to, you sort of form that community a little bit more, and things started to accelerate because I was connecting with other people, taking a lot more meaningful pictures of the garden, shall I say, because there was more to show for it as well.
Yeah.
And the progression of it was quite interesting to people, and you start to realise, oh, everyone liked that, and that was talked about a bit more, I'll do a few more of those. And then obviously reels came in, and I started doing the summarised posts and the walking towards the doorways and opening the doorways, and it was triggering lots of emotions in people.
Yeah, I was about to say that really captivates people's emotions.
Yeah. And I started getting messages from people all over the world, and I just thought, wow, this is quite something. And then obviously some of the reels did well, and I kept running with it and thinking, oh, this is amazing. And then we had that dreaded lockdown. But for some people like us, we were in a bit of a bubble here, and we were all home together, and it gave us more opportunities to connect with more people. So I started doing lives, and my son started doing piano lives, and the garden sort of came into its own at that time of year that we were in lockdown. And I feasted on videos and everything I could possibly do. And I think it was probably then, for me, and probably for hundreds of thousands of other people doing Instagram, where things fall into place a little bit more, and you can gather that community a bit more and gain momentum. And it ran from there, I suppose. It's been great ever since, and I've met some great people like you. And being featured in magazines as well has been really lovely. That was another thing. So to open the garden for the National Garden Scheme was sort of one benchmark, and then to be featured in two incredible magazines like Gardens Illustrated and The English Garden was like, oh my goodness. Yes. So it's kind of, where do we go from here? It's like the next level.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because I actually talk about your reels and show examples of your reels in my workshops that I do with people. Because I put them into 5 buckets, and one of my buckets is called escapism, and it's the art of taking people away from they've had a busy day at work, and that just, oh my goodness, is lovely content, but the ability to evoke emotions, tell a story, and bring people on a whole journey where they just feel like they come through that door with you, and that is what your reels do perfectly. Those sunrises, the walking through the door, they're what I show every time I'm watching people. Wow, and all she does is walk through the door. But it's so simply beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's captured the attention of hundreds of thousands of people now following you. And like you say though, that community that it builds around, it's not just people following you, because it is a real community. You'll know how many messages you get on the back of those posts and the comments, and I've met some of your community, and we've done things here, or through the work that we've done together, and they're a really dedicated bunch, aren't they?
They are amazing.
So how are you planning to keep on spending your time with them and sharing more of this sort of, all the garden and everything with them?
Yeah, I kind of feel that Instagram's not enough anymore. I mean, it's great, and I can still keep showing people things, but I feel there's so much more to offer and to share with people, and to keep providing the escapism as well, but the fun behind it, the real gardening, the real life, things, where we sit at the table and where Tom and I talk about our plans and how the day's gone and how things maybe didn't go according to plan, or it did, and sort of I want to involve people a lot more on that side of things as well, because all the elements and everything we've put into this garden, I feel that social media is a tricky one to try and share that with.
Yeah.
So it's a case of building something away from that we can really get deeper into what's going on here and share it well. So, so it's not like a story that expires after 24 hours.
No.
So it's not like a post that disappears off the grid once you've scrolled. It's something that it's in its own place that you can go to, and that you're going to guarantee get all the lovely stuff in a happy place.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere just away from it all. And people can just get more of you then, I guess.
Entirely.
And some tips as well on what you're doing and why you're doing it, and what plants you're choosing and stuff. I hope, because I want to see more of that. So many times I see posts that you've done on Instagram, and you've planted something up or shown something. What variety is that? What is she chosen? Why is she chosen? How did it come to be there? What's the story behind it? So hopefully you'll share a bit more of that with everyone as well.
Yeah, definitely that. And and even more than that as
Yeah.
well. So things like maybe the odd recipe that I've done. I mean, I'm no cook or anything special.
Now,
but
hang on a minute, I think anyone who's visited you will beg to differ, because I already had a sneaky peek at this membership that you've created. And already there's a recipe in there for your granola.
Oh, yes.
And anyone, I saw that Adam has already commented on it, because the last time we both stayed here, your granola is impeccable. So I will not have you saying that you're not a great cook, but carry on. Sorry, interrupted you.
I think this new membership that we've formulated, both Tom and I want to involve him a lot more as well. I don't think he's featured enough
Yeah.
on my social platform, and I feel that this is a place where he can be more of a part of it, because he is, you know, it's not just me, it's him as well.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, it's the next level of escapism, where you've got all of us, everything. You've got a bit of cooking, you've got a little bit of music that I like to listen to,
Oh, I love that as well.
you've got some screensavers of beautiful shots that you can download, tours of the garden, projects that we're coming up with, all those sort of things that you just can't quite squish into the Instagram category.
No.
And it's sort of in a nice enclosed space where there's no interference of algorithm or advertising or the noise from everything else that sort of interferes, that sort of juts in now and then, that distracts you and you fall down a rabbit hole, and then you think you have to pull yourself back out again. You know, it's all here, and there's also a community base to it as well, so we hope people will share what they're doing and we can all interact with each other and make it a really nice, happy space to be. And I'm all, to anyone who does follow me will know that, and my boys will probably laugh at this, but it's a place where I'm permanently happy.
Yeah.
Because life's too short not to be. You know, we all have our down moments, but I'm not here for that. I'm here to keep the happiness going, to keep the positivity alive. And there are, you know, gardening is a joyful thing to do. And there are days when it rains, but I'll go and dance in the rain. You know, I'm not going to get bored by it. Yes, the slugs will munch away at some of the dahlias, but, you know, hey ho, something else will flower.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not, yeah.
Speaking of the dahlias, though, because your dahlias are always amazing, and I've had a sneaky peek already through your patch, but which ones are your favourites for this year?
Well, I'm waiting for them all to perform first, and then I'll make a decision.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's slowly catch a monkey type thing. At the moment, brown sugar, you've noticed brown sugar.
Oh, yes, I saw that was already
Oh, you
out.
should
It
have seen
looks
me yesterday.
amazing.
I was dancing, literally.
It looks so good. Yeah.
Of course, I'm in love with Wine-Eyed Jill. She's flowering at the moment, but I'm waiting for them all to start showing off. So I think probably when they're all in their stride, I'd say mid to end of August, I'll come back to you on that one, and I can say, actually,
Because you've become really well known for your love of dahlias,
I know,
haven't you?
and that was something.
That wasn't part of the plan.
That was. I totally blame my girlfriend for that. Yes, I wanted to. So obviously, when we first started the garden here, it was predominantly performing at its best in June, classically, and then it'd start to sort of wane a little bit come mid-July, around about now.
Yeah.
Which a lot of gardens tend to, especially if it has been hotter than normal, which it has been the previous years apart from this year. And I wanted to sort of bridge that gap and have something else to look forward to, something more you know. So it's always been the roses, and I thought, right, what now? And then salvias have obviously been great, so Salvia Amistad and the likes of that collection of plants have always been great. And then my girlfriend, who I met through the Natural Garden Scheme, actually, because she opens her own garden, and I remember going to visit her garden, and she had a sweet little cutting corner in her garden, and what she packed into it was unbelievable, including some dahlias. I was like, ooh, and she said, well, I'm going to order some dahlias, why don't you have a few of the surplus from mine? So she had 12 left over this one particular year, and said, do you want to buy these off me? So like, yeah, okay, then I'll give them a go. And she said, I'll hold your hand and I'll talk you through it, because I was very much like, I don't know what I'm doing here, you know, give me a tube and I'll be like, So she was amazing and really looked after me. Out of the 12, 11 survived. One got munched away by some slugs, predictably. And they grew amazingly, and I nurtured them and picked and picked and picked, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I've literally got flowers, and it's now August, September, and I'm still picking flowers. This is just... And then obviously when I started looking at the varieties and how many other ones I could grow, so from the 12, I then had probably 30 the following year, and then 80 the following year after that, and it kind of... And I remember I ordered a load of dahlias, and I'd run out of the amount of area that I was planting in. And then I looked on the other side of the hedge and thought, bit of an empty corner there, maybe I could put some more dahlias in there. And I remember Tom coming home this one particular day, and I had Rowan helping me in the garden, and I said, right, let's do this today, and then he won't have a chance to say anything when he gets back from work. So we dug out the beds, and I just said, Tom,
I've done this one. Okay, bye.
I need dahlia corner. He just rolled his eyes at me. He's like, right, okay.
More dahlias.
More dahlias.
That's what you need.
Yeah. And then obviously I kind of become a little bit known for it, bizarrely, and not intentionally either. Yeah, became a bit hooked on them, so now I've planted them in another corner this year. It's ridiculous.
I went, the dahlias have duplicated, and now I'm on the other side as well.
I know, totally unintentional. Again, Tom's rolled his eyes, and he, ideally the corner that we've just planted the new lot in, he'd like to have, he's got plans for that corner, which probably won't happen for quite a few years anyway, but he'd like to have a little bit of a staged area there, so if ever we had events here, we would have performances in that corner. And it's just another nice spot to sit in as well. And I thought, well, that's not happening anytime soon. I'm just going to plant some dahlias in there, whether you like it or not.
No.
And that'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
It'll be fine. But no, I'm not going to grow any more. I think that's my limit this year.
Yeah.
I said that last year. And the year
I know next year every corner of the garden is going to be filled with dahlias, and you don't have any
speak
room
of the
left.
devil. Look, he's coming over.
He's coming out with a gin and tonic. Oh yes.
Oh,
Tom's got the
bless him.
memo. Well, I think that is perfect timing for us to say that let's finish now the gin's arrived. Forget the podcast. No, I just wanted to end actually by telling everyone who's listening and watching about Shrewsbury Flower Show, because it's coming up really fast, and they're the headline sponsor of the podcast. And if you're not already, then get yourselves down to the show, because it's going to be really good. Not just because I'm going to be there, but,
Yes, it is.
but that will make it even better, of course.
Yeah.
I'm doing the podcast live, which is really exciting.
I'll come
as well.
see you.
Yeah, come and see.
I'll come and
That'd
see
be
you.
really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm doing the podcast live, get to chat to loads of lovely guests, get to meet lots of people there as well, and obviously meet all the other growers and everything that's going to be there. So it's coming up really fast. You can still get tickets if you haven't already. So yeah, come and have a nice weekend with us there. But for now, the gin and tonic's
Gin
here.
and tonic,
So
bring it on.
yeah, come on, bring the gin and tonic, sir.
Darling.